Leader of an infamous Islander jail gang, Peter Triggz Vyusu speaks on the war in jail between two Islander jail gangs known as S2F and the Bloodline. If you enjoy the video, please like and subscribe. It helps the channel out. Leave a comment on your thoughts and let us know where in the world you are watching from. Enjoy.
As I was sitting in the Islander yard in the remand yard, I was sitting in the remand yard waiting to go to the Islander yard. I seen 5 guys walking inside the governor's office. Straight away, I know what that means. Yo, appreciate you, Murray, appreciate you, Marie. And I thought to myself, hang on a sec. If those 5 guys are going in there, 110%, I've been through this in the past. Maddie, appreciate you. So they're going to go in there because the governor wants to talk to them about me coming into the Islander yard. Listen to this, yeah? These 5 Islander boys come walking out of the governor's office, and then I get a message from the governor that I am no longer allowed to go to the Islander yard. And I was like, huh? What do you mean I can't go to the Islander yard? And then they're like, look, Maddie, appreciate you. I'm going to be straight with you. There's guys in there that don't want you in there. Now, for all you 9-to-5 guys out there who don't know rules, regulations when it comes to being a gangster, user, appreciate you. This is what you call a dog act, because if you tell the governor or to any officer that you don't want someone to come into the yard because there's going to be issues or tension, that means that you're stopping this person from coming there because, number one, you might be afraid of them, or number 2, you don't want this person to get their position in the yard again. For example, myself, why's that? Appreciate you. And obviously I was taking care of the Islander yard before I got out after my 10 years. And then I went back to prison. That's when I served for 7 years. I just got out. For all of you who don't know, I've been out now for about 15, 16 weeks. And when the governor sent me this message, I was like, I want to see the governor. I want to see the governor. Deputy governor ended up coming through. And I was like, well, what's going on? Why can't I go to the Islander yard? I'm an Islander, you know. It was already approved. And he goes, look, I'm sorry, man. He goes, the guys in there said they didn't want you there because of issues. I said, what issues? And he said, look, I can't talk anymore about it. You can't go. So the Islander yard was in this yard, and the remand yard always used to come around into a yard called the cookhouse. The cookhouse is where you go to education, you go to visits. Anyway, the next day, remand yard came into the cookhouse, and I was standing there, yeah? And Esa Kafavalu, who was the leader of S2F, his brother was there, Junior, yeah? Or they called him Sunia. When I was sitting there, appreciate you, Benin, appreciate you. When I was there, and I thought to myself, you know what? Let me try something out. TMT, appreciate you. Feno, one of the old school Māori boys, he come over to the fence, and then Sunia come over to the fence, and I thought, you know what? Here's my witness. Feno's there, and Sunia's like standing there, and I could see the other S2F boys, including that Jamaica, you know, the one who got outed for sucking Eachother for before robbing them. I'll tell you all a story about this cunt friggin' next week. His name's Snowy Badman, yeah? But inside prison, they call him Jamaica. He's a rapper. Anyway, to cut a long story short, he had a song that blew up in the UK. The cops got pissed off and they outed his paperwork. And on his paperwork was him doing those ones, you know. I'll explain that later, but yeah, he was in the yard that time, in the Islander yard, and I walked over to Feno and Sunia, and I said to Sunia this. I go, bro, I just fucking came from the deputy governor yesterday, and they said to me that you said that I can't come to the yard because of dramas. And remember, I didn't know that. I just said this to Sunia as a liar to see how he would react, yeah? And bro, guess what? When I said it to him, he goes to me, oh, also it's just that, you know, like, this yard is S2F yard now, you know, and bro, I just don't want any issues with you. That's why I said it. And I was like, well, I didn't even finish my sentence when and then he said that. And then Feno, like, turned to him and looked at him. Remember, Feno's old school. And it's like, bro, you can't do that. What's wrong with you? And then that's when I blasted him. I go, you fucking weak cunts. I go, there's 6 of you there in the yard, S2F guys, yeah? And I go, there's only one of me, one bloodline guy, yeah? And I said, I was coming into your yard. If you had an issue with me, all 6 of you could have taken care of it. But I was more than happy to come there and confront all 6 of you, yeah? And I said, and you have gone and told the governor not to freaking let me out into the yard. And I go, what you call it? You know you can't do that, yeah? And he was like, nah, because bro, I get along with you and your brother, you know, like my brother was the one who started this. His brother's name is S. He was the leader of S2F, yeah? Because my brother was the one who started all these drama between you guys, and I don't want no part of it. And he goes, because I'm friends with you and Henry. And he goes, but every time I tell my brother to try to freaking ask you guys for forgiveness or like he won't listen to me, you know? And so there's nothing I can do. Cruz, appreciate ya. There's nothing I can do about it. Like, and now I have to freaking put up with the shit when I bump into your boys and get into issues. And then he was explaining to me that 2 of the other bloodline boys, what's up? Appreciate you, my man. 2 of the other bloodline boys had attacked him on 2 separate occasions, you know? And so when I got there, he didn't want to have issues, but my problem is you still can't say that, you know? There were 6 S2F boys in there, so obviously these 6 guys got together and spoke about it, yeah? And when they spoke about it, they knew full well that they can't tell the governor anything, but they did. They went and told him not to let me in, all right? So now I can't go in there, all right? I stay in the remand yard, they're running the Islander yard. There was 3 BL boys inside the Asian yard. I'm not going to explain the whole situation of why the Islander boys were split up because it's too long, but pretty much the Finks, the bikie gang, the Finks, they were with the Islanders, and there was big dramas years beforehand, so they pretty much split a lot of the Islanders up from the Islander yard to the Asian yard, and then the Finks ended up coming to the Islander yard, and it was pretty much half Finks, half Islanders. And there's a big brawl that I will tell you is about. Katoni, appreciate you, bro. Between the Islanders and the Finks boys that broke out at Goldman, but I'll tell you just that in another time. Murray, Chris, appreciate you. So the 3 BL boys that were in there, I went over to the cookhouse a few days later, and they were in the opposite yard, so I could talk to them. One sec, guys. Let me just do this puzzle. Yeah, boy, I ain't an AI, and I'm back. You know. So this is what happened, yeah. I got to the yard, and the 3 BL boys were there, and I started going off with them because I was like, why the hell are you 3 in the Asian yard? That's the Islander yard over there. Why the hell aren't you in there? Obviously, I just come from the outside, so I didn't know the go. And the 3 BL boys were saying, also, the yard got split up years ago. I said, what do you mean? He goes, yeah, half of us got put in here and half of the boys got stayed there with the Finks. That's why we're in here. And then I said to them, oh, it looks freaking ugly. Like, you're freaking Islanders and you're sitting here. Do what you gotta freaking do to get to the Islander yard, you know? Anyway, when I said that, I was just saying to them, like, go ask the screws if you can go to the Islander yard because you're not in the Islander yard, you're in the Aussie Asian yard, you know? About a week later, the BL boys ended up doing these ones to one of the inmates in the Aussie Asian yard, and they got moved over to the Islander yard because of it, yeah? I'm in the remand yard when all this is happening. Out of the 3 BL boys, one of them ended up going to court. And then there was 2 left, yeah? The 2 that was left was Caps, rest in peace, Caps, my brother, and Shanks. Those 2 are the 2 that went to the Islander yard, all right? When they walked in there, S2F boys were in there, and remember, we didn't really have issues with S2F, we only had issues with Essa, the leader. And this was the thing, like, the amount of S2F boys that our boys have bumped into, we've never ever said anything to them, no one's ever tried to, like, start issues with them, but because they were backing up Essa, they felt obligated to react, you know? And so it was being tit for tat between the BL boys and the S2F boys, yeah? And then that day, when these 2 BL boys walked in there, remember, there's like, arms up, appreciate you, my man. When the BL boys walked into the yard that day, this is the same big yard that I fought the OCs in. They walked in there, S2F boys in there, and this is what I'm talking about, gang. Like, remember I told you before, there's street soldiers, there's gang, and there's gangsters. Like these S2F guys, I put them on the gang, you know, because their name stands for start to finish, yeah, S2F. And yeah, 100% they started on a rubbish, but they've never finished it. So that day when the 2BL boys walked in there, straight away they should have freaking attacked, yeah? But they didn't. The two BL boys went and did their thing. But remember, the BL boys didn't have an issue with S2F. We all just had an issue with Essa because he was the one that was running his mouth and trying to be a tough guy, yeah? And mind you, I didn't know that there was such a man. I didn't know there was a situation where a gang called S2F was created. Because when I got out of prison, there was only OC. And when I came back into prison, I just assumed Essa was OC, but he wasn't. He had started a gang called S2F. And I was like, oh, all right. I found that out later on. After, Chris, appreciate you. Yeah, boy. I found that out later on after I had been in the same wing with S2F boys who didn't do nothing to me. And I was like, all right, if they didn't do nothing to me or if they didn't try nothing on me, maybe they did have a bit of respect. But later on, I got word saying that some of these guys who mixed with me in the yard when I didn't know that S2F was S's gang, they were telling people, oh, I offered out Triggz. Yeah, he shit at that. Yeah, all right, bro, you offered me out. And no one's ever heard of a story of where I backed down or where an incident happened. Mate, that's why you're a gang and not gangsters, all right? It's when it comes to being gangsters, it's on site, all right? But this is what these guys do. When they're in a group, they're tough guys, yeah? And as soon as they're on their own, they say nothing, all right? Little pussies, all right? So when the 2BL boys are walking back and forth in the yard, they're not thinking of having any issues with the S2F boys, yeah? And then, while I was sitting inside the remand yard, a letter gets thrown over, all right? And then one of the boys, Kuri boys, walked over to me. He goes, yo, Pete, he goes, a letter from the island yard. I open it up, and it's a letter from who? Sunia. And in this letter, he wrote, Hamza, appreciate you, my man. Sebs, appreciate you. In this letter, he wrote, hey, also, like I said to you at the fence, I have nothing against you. I always got along with you and your brother, which is true. We did. We always got along with S's brother. Appreciate you, my man. And then he went on to say, El, appreciate you. He went on to say that two of your boys have just walked into our yard yesterday and we welcome them. But I just want to let you know, this yard is S2F yard. And because we allowed your two boys to walk our yard, how about you be a gentleman, the gentleman that we know you are, and get your boys to give us some drugs. And I was like, reading this letter, and I was like, wow, Serbs, appreciate you, Serbs. And I was like, wow, Sunia knows me very well, you know, so he knows I'm not a little kid. 267, my man. And when I got this letter, I sent the letter to the boys, Shanks and Caps. And obviously they need to know, like, have a heads up that there could be a chance that they might be getting jumped, you know? So I sent the letter to them to say, bro, boys, be careful. Caps being Caps, mate, he's one man that you can call gangster. He doesn't care. He's been jumped a lot, and it's because he doesn't care. Wherever he goes on with it. Rest in peace to the brother Caps, you know. There's a lot of things about him that I would love to talk about. To all you youngsters out there, like this guy, really appreciate ya. Benner, thank you very much. This guy Caps went through a lot. Niece, love you, appreciate you. And he didn't hang out with youngsters, Caps, when he was growing up. He hung out with all the older boys. So he knew the go as he was growing up because he learnt it all as a youngster, yeah? That's the reason why, Monkey, appreciate you, my man. That's the reason why he was a strong-willed guy who could stand on his own 2 feet. And when Caps was younger and he was with the older boys, there was a situation where they had to go and knock on a door and talk to this bloke because he was standing over builders that were connected to Caps' cousins. So I'm not going to get too much into it, but pretty much Caps and his cousins were one gang, yeah? Remember, his cousins are older boys. I'm not going to mention who they are, but they were protecting these builders, and this guy who was in this house was part of a gang that was going against them. All right, let's go, guys. Tap it up. Let's get to 500,000. And so when they knocked on the door and they started like mouthing off at the guy because he was just talking from behind the door, Caps being Caps, he starts kicking the door, yeah? The guy went to open the door and Caps grabbed it and ripped it open. As he ripped it open, like, this is a story that's known throughout the whole underworld, yeah? But it's never been something that's been on the news because it never got caught, yeah? The only reason why I'm telling this story is because Caps has now passed away, and it's a story that all you youngsters need to know. This guy, as Caps opened the door, he pulled out and unloaded, yeah? It went straight past Caps' face, like missed him by inches, yeah? Caps ended up on top of him, and then the other boys like jumped and tried to grab the gun off him, and it was still going off, but they quickly grabbed Caps and then threw him outside, and Caps, being Caps, he just wanted to go on with it, but the older boys pushed him outside and said, go, so they started running, yeah? And this guy who was doing this, he didn't want to do it, but he was trying to protect himself, yeah? So he quickly locked the door, closed it, and he ran, you know? Both parties ran and separated. And so, again, to all you youngsters out there, this is how easy it is to lose your life, you know? Like, Caps told me about this story, and then the older boys were the ones who explained, like, how Caps is crazy, you know? He goes on with it, even though he was a youngster back then, he did not care. He was always frontline soldier. But guess what? That day, he almost lost his life, you know? And now, fast forward, the brother got heavily involved with taking drugs, and that was his downhill, you know? Like, rest in peace to my brother. I wish he could have taken her out. I actually did try my best. Adam, appreciate you, my man. Try my best to take that load off his shoulder so I can help him try to get off the drugs, but, you know, you can't help everyone, you know, they have to try to help themselves. But to all you youngsters, that's what you're going to go through, you know, if you keep going down this road. So everybody knowing that Caps is crazy, as soon as Caps and Shanks get into the yard, remember, they've now got my letter of what Sunir had said, yeah? And I didn't know, Chris, Adam, appreciate it, I didn't know that they were going to react the way they reacted. So they go into the big yard and then they yell out that, they're going to sort this issue out. Adam, appreciate you. And I said to them, look, don't do nothing. Don't be stupid. There's only two of you guys there and they don't want no dramas with you. You know, I go, the letter's pretty much just saying it's their yard and they just want to be fixed up if you guys have anything on you. And obviously, like, Caps has got a bad temper and he was like, nah, if this, if that. And I said, look, if you're going to do something, then wait for me. I'm going to come to the island yard. So remember how I told you in Supermax, the only way things can F up is if inmates are trying to swindle a move to try to get get the wool over the officer's eyes. So this happens in every prison. That's why all officers are told to open your eyes and ears and make sure that you know what you're doing and confirm, you know, like, don't just let Peter say, hey, I'm supposed to be over there and you don't confirm it. Murray, Adam, appreciate you guys. Love yous. So Sunday comes. I didn't know what was going on, but me and two of the other boys, one of them's a Lebanese BL boy, yeah? All three of us go to visits. And the plan was to come back and then we would ask to go to the island yard. And remember, I'm still not in the know of anything because we can't talk through the yards. Because if we try to conjure up a plan, like, S2F are going to hear it, you know? So they're on that side, we're on this side. And it's very hard for us to conversate because everyone's around, and Caps was already wanting to do something. So I couldn't negotiate with him to try to calm him down because this guy's head was like exploding, you know, wanting to make a move. I told him, please give me a chance. Like, let me go to visits and we'll come to the yard, and then we'll sort it out with S2F, see if they got a problem. Go to visits with the 3 boys, one of them being Lebanese. We come out of visits, and as we come out, for the first time ever, there's an Islander screw there, yeah, who works at Goulburn. He's never ever been there before at visits, but for some reason he ended up being there that day, and this is what effed us up. So when we come out, straight away I said to him, hey, we're in the Island yard. He looked at me weird. He goes, aren't you in the remand? I don't appreciate you, my man. I said, no. We got moved to the Island yard. Like, we need to go to the Island yard. And then he was like, oh, look, Bosu, you know, I don't want no issues with you, but please, like, this is my job. He goes, let me just radio up and find out. And I thought to myself straight away, I go, bro, we're not going to freaking get to the Island yard. B, appreciate ya. He radios up. He realizes we're not in the Island yard. And he goes, look, if you have moved, he goes, I'll make sure that I'll move you guys straight away. But please, can you just go into the remand yard and stay in there until I get confirmation? Because right now they're saying to me that you guys are still in the remand. And I thought to myself, you know what? I'm not going to argue with this Islander bloke, so I'm just going to go, you know? So me, one of my other boys, Bees, and the Lebanese BL boy, we all walked into to the remand yard. And so when I was walking to the remand yard, I turned around and Caps went like this to me, and then I said, nah, I'm all right. Like, I just went like that. I'm all right, all good, like that. And I said, I'll speak to you tomorrow. And him and Shanks were standing together, yeah? I don't appreciate you. I walk in to the reminder, and I'm sitting there, and then all of a sudden, one of the guru boys yell out, hey boys, like that. Bro, we come running over to the fence, and we look like this, and Caps and Shanks will go on a town on Sunia, yeah? Like, they had AIGAs that were like this big, yeah? And they had 2 each. And let me tell you something, yeah? This is prison life. To all you young gangsters out there that are up and coming right now, this is prison. This is what you're gonna fucking put up with when you think you're a tough guy, yeah? And remember, Sunia was the one who started all this by writing this letter and trying to throw his weight around because he had the numbers. But he didn't realize that BL had been around for a long time. So this dumb Gronk from the Telegraph who wrote, a new up and coming gang, BL, like, bro, get your facts straight, all right? The boys have been around for over 22 years. And this is the reason why they know how to handle themselves and know how to react, you know? And when the situation broke out with Shanks and Caps going to town on him, like, every S2F member in there ran. Not one person like went to try to help Sunia, yeah? The boys were offering them out, they're around, hiding behind the toilets, hiding behind the showers, you know, like, they wanted no smoke whatsoever, yeah? And officers, like, I seen it with my own eyes happening, yeah? And it's something that you don't see at all in prison. You know, there's guys who do these inside prison, but half-hearted, obviously, because they don't want to go too hard because they'll get extra charges, yeah? But with BL, like, the boys, when they do something, they're never half-hearted about it, yeah? And Shanks and Caps, they went all out that day, and the officers that helped, Marie, appreciate you, Adam, appreciate you, my man. Marie, officers that helped Sunia get airlifted out of Goulburn that day were telling me, we have not seen like these ones, yeah, on someone like that in the last 30 years. Because that's one of the worst that we've ever seen. Like, it was so bad that, I can't really say it on TikTok because I don't want to get banned, yeah? But it's something that's going to be told in full once I put it out on YouTube. But What happened that day after he got airlifted and all the S2F guys ran is BL ended up getting the Islander yard back, and they ended up bringing all the BLs from other prisons back. And for those of you who don't know, Goulburn is like the castle for every nationality, whether you're the Kuris, the four main nationalities I'm talking about, the Kuris, the Lebanese, the Islanders, and the Asians. Goulburn is like the castle. If you can get to Goulburn, that's it. You're part of the royal. You're part of royalty. You know what I mean? You made it as a gangster if you got to Goulburn, because Goulburn is considered the end of the line. You can run amok everywhere you want, but as soon as they send you to Goulburn, Adam, I appreciate you, my man. As soon as you get sent to Goulburn and you end up there, good luck on getting out. You'll be stuck there for another 2 years until you learn to behave yourself. Yeah? Supermax, DJ, yalla, appreciate you. When I say end of the line, I'm talking about Goulburn main, but Goulburn Supermax is for the worst of the worst. Yeah, that's when you start having statuses like high risk, extreme high risk, or extreme high security, extreme high restricted risk. That's the worst of the worst. But like I've always told you guys, Adam, appreciate you. Being in Supermax, that's not gangster. Supermax was like primary school to me. You know, if you didn't use your manners, say please or thank you, they weren't giving you a TV. You know, everyone was trying to behave themselves to get luxuries like a Breville TV and all that. And this is even from the boys that came before me, you know, the boys that were in STG program, Serious Threat Group program, and Individual Violent Offender program. These were all held in Supermax and at Lithgow. And it was rubbish. It was like primary school, you know, you're treated like a little kid. And I remember one of the boys named Tufi. He was sitting on the toilet, and one of the female officers opened it up, and then Tufi starts going on, "Wait, get the F out of here and close the door. What's wrong with you? I'm on the toilet." And then she goes, "Excuse you." She closes the door, and then she charges him. And I was like, this is how rubbish Supermax and STG program was, you know, they treat you like little kids. So the real gangsters are the ones that were in the main, the ones that was in and amongst it, you know, the ones that were in the brawls, involved in all of the dramas, you know. Hey, Adam, appreciate you guys, love yous. And guys, before I continue with this freaking story, tap it up. It's 600,000. He got taken, and the officer said it was one of the worst that he's ever seen in the last 30 years. Caps and Shanks, they both got charged for it, and they got extra time for it, yeah? Murray, I appreciate you, Murray. And this is what you youngsters need to realize as well. When you're inside prison and you want to run amok and you want to do things to show that you're a gangster, mate, you will get extra time for it, you know? And the charges that you get will get you knocked back on parole time and time again. So you guys all remember the 10 years that I served, yeah? I wasn't supposed to serve 10 years. I was only supposed to serve 7.5 years. The reason why I served 10 years was because of all the rubbish that I was doing, you know? Even my first lagging before that, I was only supposed to serve 2.5 years. I ended up doing 3.5 years, all because I wanted to be a hard guy and be a gangster. Ethan, appreciate you. Razor, love you. So this is where we're at right now. S2F have now cracked their pants, and they refused to fight 2 BLs. There was only 2 BL boys here, yeah? And then when the officers took S2F out, there was 3 guys who were not known as S2F. They were still in the yard. And when the BL boys were there, they now had the numbers, and these 3 S2F guys were still there. And then one of our boys, who's one of the heavyweights of our boys, we nicknamed him Hulk, yeah? Talasemu. He's like me and my brother 212 Heat. He doesn't care about having numbers, you know. He'll go on with it on his own. So when he saw these S2F guys, obviously he had to clean the yard up, because now the yard was BL yard, yeah? And instead of doing what these Flops always do like OC and that, where they jump you because they got the numbers being hard, guys. Tala told the boys to stay away, and he walked over to the S2F guys and he goes, look, you're not going to get jumped. We're not like that. Like us BL boys, you know, we can stand on our 2 feet. So I'm going to tell you once, I'm not going to tell you again. If you want to stay in these yard, you have to have a one-on-one with me, and it's going to be a fair one-on-one. And if you come out on top, you can walk the yard. And we will take you under our wing. You know, you won't have to worry about no issues whatsoever. And if you lose, you have to go. You have to leave the yard. Guess what happened? All 3 of these S2F guys, the next morning, refused to come out of their cell. So all 3 of them bailed. And these are stories that we know of,